Imagine trying to teach yourself something without knowing what it was you were trying to learn. Now, normally, this would be impossible for obvious reasons. But if you remove the idea that your past and future selves are separate from your current self, then it stands to reason that you'd be able to learn from your future self and teach your past self. Imagine this. You're placed in a room called Room 1. Right now, you are only aware of Room 1 and whatever you're observing in that room. This is your current self. Now imagine a second room called Room 2, this being your past and future. You have no prior knowledge of Room 2 nor anything that is in that room, yet you suddenly have the knowledge of both its contents and existence. This is the equivalent of removing that time constraint, that time separation, from you and your chronological counterparts. To explain further, imagine Room 1 again. This is your present or 2D self. Then Room 2 being your past/future or 3D self. The kicker is that in reality, there's only one room in total, because both rooms exist in the same space, just in different points in time. This overlap is your fractal or 4D self, knowing that your past, present, and future self are the exact same person existing at the exact same time. The reason this is possible is because our subconscious isn't bound by our idea of time. It has no chronological constraints and therefore exists at all points in time. Deja vu, inexplicable acquirement of knowledge, intuition, dreams, visions, so on and so forth, are all examples of our fractal self interacting with our worldly self. Take deja vu, for example. Millions of people all describing the same thing, where they feel like they've already experienced whatever their present situation is. The truth is, that's exactly what happened. Your future self already lived through that, which is why it feels familiar. Picture these three planes. They're all dimensionally different, but exist within the same space. That overlap is your subconscious. In other words, your past, present, and future self are all connected by you, the observer. There's a famous experiment called the double slit experiment, where depending on whether or not photons are being observed, they behave differently. I believe this is how everything ties together. By you knowing and observing your fractal self, you're able to alter the course of your life by learning from the mistakes of your future self before you even make them, thus changing your timeline. In religious terms, this is called free will. This same concept is how things like the law of attraction work, but we won't get into that in this video. Allow me to break it down for you. In this timeline, you have your past, present, and future self, all existing in between your birth and death. Going back to the beginning of the video where you try to teach something to yourself without knowing what it was you were trying to learn, you can see here how that would happen. Your future self passes on knowledge to your past self, you in the present, the same way that knowledge your past self knows affects your future. To put it simply, the past makes the future makes the past, and both are tied to the present. Don't try and think about this in a linear or chronological fashion. It's not your future self teaching your past self and then your past self learning from your future self. Everything happens at the exact same time. All iterations of any overlap between your past, present, and future self happen simultaneously. Going back to the Room 1 and Room 2 examples, you could see how this works. Both rooms are existing in the same space, but this only works if you observe this as your fractal or fourth dimensional self. I'm sure you're aware that us as humans are three-dimensional entities, observing the world in 2D. With time being the fourth dimension, it would seem that there is no way to comprehend it. But the same way a 3D entity observes in 2D, it stands to reason that our 4D self can observe the 3D world with a bird's eye view of sorts. We are made in the image of God, and we are the universe experiencing itself. There are infinite possibilities with your fractal self, but only one you. Science shows that when we die, our entire life flashes before our eyes. In death, we are born. You are a reflection of your past and future self. Everything you said and did, along with everything you'll say and do. The truth is, people are so tied to their worldly self, it makes it nearly impossible for them to fractalize. Even me, I'm only beginning to understand this concept. Galahad Eridanus makes an excellent video relating to this concept. He explains how coincidences don't exist and everything has a meaning. He uses the term constellating when referring to being open-minded about these coincidences and to find meaning and patterns in these events. Fractalizing and constellating are both trying to accomplish the same thing. They're nearly synonymous, separating your worldly two-dimensional self to see beyond your third-dimensional reality. What I find really funny is this entire concept came out of nowhere to me. This is an entirely new idea to me, and I couldn't understand where it came from. Now I get it. Now I see that by me making this video, I have inadvertently taught my past self, formerly present, everything my current self knows, formerly future. In other words, I taught myself something without knowing what it was I was trying to learn.